Okay, next on our list is challah. This is a Jewish celebration bread, and it's different from baguette in that there's some fat and sugar added to it. So baguette is considered a lean dough, and challah is considered an enriched dough. So we're going to start the same way. We've warmed up our water. So again, that it's warm enough that you can stick your finger in it. It feels warmer than you, but it's not so hot that it stings. So you're going to put the water in the bowl, and then we're going to add the yeast. And we're just going to give that maybe 1 or 2 seconds just to start dissolving. And then we're going to add our eggs. So this is part of the enriched part of the dough. Because we're adding egg yolks, they're adding fat. And so we're going to add that to our mix. And this is a straight dough. And straight dough means that you can just sort of dump everything into the bowl at the same time. But be mindful of a couple of steps. So like before, I've put the yeast and my liquid ingredients in first. Then I'm going to put the flour. And I'm going to separate the yeast coming in direct contact with the salt by putting the flour in the middle here. Okay? So then we're going to add the salt and the sugar, and the butter and the honey. And then we're going to mix this the same way we did before. We're going to start on speed 1 and just stir it until it comes together. And then we're going to evaluate the texture of the dough. So we want it to be nice and soft, maybe a tiny bit sticky, but not wet and not dry. So we're just going to give this a minute, and then we'll decide in about 1 minute, 1 minute 30. So after about 2 minutes of mixing, you can see that the dough is starting to come away from the sides, and when I feel it, it feels nice and soft. I have some dry bits at the bottom of the bowl here, but I'm not so worried about them as I feel the rest of the dough feels really, really nice and soft. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix this similar to the way we mix the baguette, so probably about 8 minutes, but I'm going to check it a little earlier. So I'm going to turn it up to speed 2 or 3 and let it go for about 6 minutes. So now that it's been mixing for a couple minutes, I want to just check it and see how the gluten is developing. So if it's a little bit sticky, again, just touch your fingers in some flour, just a little bit. Pinch off a piece, and then you want to stretch it like we did before. So we're going to stretch it out nice and gently and see how we can get it to stretch. So I can get this one to stretch really quite thin without it tearing, which is a good sign. We do want some tearing. You don't want it to stretch super clear. So this is called a window test. But you want it to tear just a little bit and still have some stretch. That means that we've developed the gluten really, really well in this loaf. So I'm going to say that one's good enough. So we're going to set it up the same way as we did our other bread. So we're going to take a bowl. We're going to give it a bit of a spray or rub it just gently with oil. Don't go crazy. It doesn't need a lot. Pull our dough out of the machine. You want to scrape it down and make sure you get it all. If it's a little bit stuck to the bottom, that's okay, but you don't want to leave any of it behind. And now we're going to do the same thing we did before. You just want to gently form it into a nice ball. So by grabbing it from the outside and pinching it to the back, and grabbing it from the outside and gently pinching it to the back, do that maybe 2 or 3 times. I am working upside down. Normally I hold the dough this way and pinch it to the back. I just flip my hands over so you can see. So there, you can see as I do that, I'm making a nice smooth surface. Then a little bit on the table, a quick gentle roll, just sort of smooth out all of the sides. And then we're going to put that in our bowl. And we're just going to cover it with some plastic. So again, either some saran wrap or a plastic bag, Just cover it up. And we're going to put that to the side until it doubles in size. And then we will come back and check on that.